Okay, all right. Now something that happened in the same moment, right? I think the real topic, right? Sentomaru, he said something that was really interesting in my opinion, and it really had me thinking a lot. He said he brought up Ohara. He was talking to these people telling him to leave, and he brought up Ohara. He said it vanished from all the world maps overnight. He said years ago a place called Ohara vanished from all the world maps overnight because they dared to defy the world government. And he pretty much talks about, like, how it was a tragedy, and he said he fears that something worse is coming to the island, right? And that really had me thinking, because I'm like, are we talking about this whole the same thing that we seen at Lelugia, right?
Oh, definitely.
Is that what we talking about? Because what else is coming to
No.
what? Let me finish. Angel. What else is coming to the island? Right, Saturn, Kizaru. I've made a lot of speculation, especially since we got the name of Saint J Garcia, and we learned that it's Saint J Garcia Saturn, and there's been a lot of speculation that the other Gorosei members are also named after planets. We also know that planets are like the Roman gods are named after planets,
Yeah.
and the ancient weapons are named after Roman gods, which are also named after planets. Other than
Being
Poseidon,
Greek gods.
Poseidon's the only of the
Those aren't
ancient
like
weapons that
Greek
are.
gods.
Hold on. Let me. And it's Roman gods because they're Greek gods, but the Roman names. That's why I say the Roman gods, because it's Zeus, but then it's Jupiter. The Roman name is Jupiter. So Poseidon is the only one that's named after the original Greek counterpart, right? So I've also made statements that I think that it's possible that the Gorosei members could be ancient weapon level, or if they're not ancient weapons themselves, I think they could possibly strength wise be on par with the ancient weapon. And my thought is, because I should have looked this up, I didn't look it up. When Lelugia was attacked, was Jay Garcia was Saint Jay Garcia, was he at Mary Joa, and where all was he with the rest of the Gorosei members at the time, or did he already leave? You know what I'm saying? Because maybe it's possible that he went to Lelugia first. I guess in a sense, in a nutshell, what I'm saying is that thing that we seen wipe out Lelugia off the map. Is it possible that that was Saturn's doing? And we know Saturn is going to Egghead Island. Is it possible that he is going to do the same thing to Egghead Island that he did at Lelugia? That's kind of why I wanted to preference this idea that the Gorosei members could possibly be ancient weapons, or at the very least ancient weapon level. So I'll let me switch it up and let Cube. Do you want to go first, Cube? You want to start this one off? Like, what did you get from that whole what Sentomaru said to the lab workers?
So I like I found it very interesting that he mentioned from all the stuff he mentioned Ohara, and I want to mention that if you look at the Sentomaru's T-shirt, the sign of his symbol is very similar to the hairstyle that Dr. Hiluki, Dr. Clover had. The three windmills in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if like maybe Sentomaru has his origin is closer to Ohara's than we think it is, and actually it is. Like I think maybe this story is hit straight to for him. Like it's personal horror. That's why he mentioned it. Like it's this one event that he sees as the worst of them all, and this might even be worse than Ohara. So honestly, I'm very curious to know more about Sentomaru and where he came from.
Okay. You any idea on what this thing that he this great threat that he's talking about is?
I think that I don't think he knows about Ian, but I think he knows about the potential of that kind of power, and he knows that Vegapunk went too far now that he's been uncovered. So it's gonna be worse than Ohara, because I think Ohara was just a snippet, and he knows that Vegapunk basically went much further than them.
Yeah.
So I think it's Ian, but he doesn't know it's Ian.
I don't know if it's Eam, but I just find it interesting that Sentomaru says that, and then we also have Saturn showing up. You know,
Yeah.
Rocks. You,
Yeah.
I felt as though you had something to say, so I'm gonna give you the floor now. What did you get from that moment? What did you get from that moment?
As always, the stakes are getting high for tension, like every arc. Especially each climax, or about to be climax, always a massive stake tension thing.
Yeah. Any idea what this threat coming is though? Is it going to be a Buster call? Or
That Buster Call, 10 Buster Calls, that 16 light bullets, Admiral, everything. They're just gonna release everything at Vegapunk just to get him.
so you think it's going to be a normal Buster call that they're bringing to the island?
How long? Well, either that, they're just gonna bring everything.
Okay. Angel?
I want to say that I don't hold on. I think this is gonna be bigger than the Buster Call. I think the island is actually gonna sink. I don't think the island is still gonna be there.
But how are they going to sink it? What's going to sink it though?
I don't know.
Are they
Maybe
bringing
your
a new
idea with
weapon?
the whole Saturn thing would be pretty cool.
Oh, so you on board with what I said? I'm on board with it too. I'm on board with it. Ragnar, what up? What you got? Like I know this is one of them. I know this is one of them moments in the chapter. I think we kind of talked about it before stream. So, what do you think? What is this supposed? Because I believe what Sentomaru said. I believe like he doesn't know. Like I don't think he knows about Lelugia Island, and I don't think he know if they're bringing the Buster Call. But it's like he said it. Like Oda made it a point for Sentomaru to say what he said, and it just makes me think that is there something that's coming that's on par with, because he said he brought up Ohara, and he said it could be worse than Ohara. And the only thing I that we've seen in the story that I feel as though we could confirm that could be capable of being worse than Ohara, I think is what happened at Lelugia Island. Either that or like God Valley sinking, one of them two. But I say,
I was gonna say that I think it's just gonna be I think it's just gonna be a Buster Call now, because a normal Buster Call is 10 fleets, and we know that they're coming with 100 fleet of ships. So they might just be able to sink the island with those 100, since they're coming with 10 times more than Ohara.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I don't think it's just gonna be I know they're coming up with a lot of ships. I think those ships are going to be there just to ensure that nobody can escape the island. But to me, it's like, bro, we got Lelugia, right? We got Lelugia Island. We got that whole incident. We see what that was capable of. Sentomaru's talking about like something that's going to be worse than what happened at Ohara. And the only thing, like I said, the only thing I could think of that would be worse than that is the Lelugia thing. And Saturn's showing up. Why does Saturn need to be there for a normal Buster Call? You know what I mean? Why does Saturn, somebody who shares the name of a Roman god, which also shares the connection and the commonality of the ancient weapons, why does Saturn need to be present for a Buster Call? You know what I mean? So
I don't
That's why I
I
don't
don't
think it's
think
going
it's
to
a
be.
normal Buster call. I feel like I don't think it's a normal Buster call because they're bringing 100
But even then,
ships. So
even if it's still a Buster call. And to me, it's like, why does Saturn need to be there for a Buster call? You know, I mean, I guess
I
you
don't
could
know. We'll
argue.
have to
I
see.
guess you could argue he wants to talk to Vegapunk like 1-on-1, maybe. I mean, I guess that could be an argument that's made, and I mean that's sensible. But I don't know. I think Saturn's there for something sinister. Ragnar.
The truth is, I don't know if Blump is willing to go into it, but that scene, there's one scene where we saw a hand go over a camera. A lot of people have been showing this to me recently. I have a different idea of who it is, but when they mentioned this to me, I could not help but see it. And once I saw it, I could not unsee it. The shadow looks exactly like Saturn shaped out. It does. That's the truth.
Like who?
Even the shape of the beard, Saturn. The shadow that put the hand over the camera, even the
Yeah,
beard,
I did kind of
even
notice
the
that.
beard.
I did kind of notice that. That's why, bro. That's why I was on board with. That's why I thought. That's why I was saying like Saturn might be on the island because it made sense that he's the only one that could really give the Seraphim an order
The
that
Vegapunk's an order. Nobody
nobody
can
could
go over.
overwrite.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But then we got that scene where it's saying like they were still going to the island with all those ships. So I figured that was to show that they're not on the island or they're not even
See,
close to
but as
Egghead.
far as we know, we also saw Blackbeard, which was weeks ago. If you mind, Blackbeard fighting on Amazon Lily was weeks ago. Blackbeard facing Law was during the trip to the island. So it's not at the same time that Luffy was on the island. It's Law on the way to the next island, which is the same distance as Egghead and the others. So Blackbeard caught him before. For far as we know, the time that they showed Saturn heading towards the island was the past. Same like Blackbeard, same like Law, same like everything else they showed during that time. It was all the past. So
Yeah.
when we're looking at this camera and it's shaped exactly like Saturn, it helps. I've said this to Cube before. I don't know if Cube's gonna bring it up, but I said this to Cube. Aokiji, not Aokiji, Kuzan,
Kizaru.
not Kuzan. What's his name?
Kizaru.
Kizaru. Thank you. I
You
appreciate
better
it.
not forget
Kizaru
the
is
goated admiral. The goat
I
of
didn't
the
forget him.
admiral.
I just slipped my mind.
No, I'm joking.
He's the perfect person to slip through a light-based defense. Okay, if you look at Vegapunk's defense, all of it is light-based. Even the creatures that were facing against CP0
They could
are
use somebody like Bluno
light-based.
though. They could use somebody like
Yeah,
Bluno
Bluno is
to get
also
in.
possible.
Wasn't it
Bluno is
deactivated?
also possible. But guess what Pythagoras said? They got past the defense somehow. That's the CP0, right? That's CP0. They said CP0 got past the defense somehow, probably with some devil fruit. That's what they said. They said possibly with some devil fruit. So I thought CP0 got past it with devil fruits, but how did Saturn get past it? And then you think all of Vegapunk's defense is based on light. Technically, Kizaru, if he wanted to, can control that light. Just like any other Logia can control sand, control magma, control ice. He controlled that light. Opened the door, walked right in. The laser beams came down, stopped it, walked right through. Why not? He's Kizaru. He controls light.
I kind of think like my only my pushback on why it was Saturn because again like I was on that train for a while that Saturn was the one causing all this chaos. You know, I was on that train for a while, but I think whoever's doing this is the same person who took those world government agents. And I don't see why Saturn would have done that. And I don't think he was like for the past months that all these disappearances happened, he was going to Egghead to do this. You know, I just don't think that was him. Like I don't think he's the one behind the disappearance of the world government ships and the Cypher Pole agents. On top of like somebody was doing that. Like somebody had to do that, and I just don't think it was Saturn. So I don't think he's the traitor, or I don't think he's the person doing all this. because
I
whoever's doing all this, I think was the same person that kidnapped all those Cypherpol agents. Angel.
I agree with you.
The
The
thing
thing
I
is,
wanted to say, the thing I wanted to say about Ragnar stuff is that the scene with what's his name with Saturn was definitely not in the past. That scene was probably around the same time that CP0 and CP0 reached the top. Those scenes probably happened around the same time.
Go ahead, Ragnar.
and the key word in your sentence is probably, right?
The
The
only
same
reason
way
why
law.
I think don't know the like it could have probably been a few minutes before they reached the top. The reason why I think it is definitely around that same time or probably a few minutes before it is because of before we see Saturn, we see Kizaru on the phone, probably talking to Akainu about the situation on Egghead.
Go ahead,
So
Ragnar.
what I was saying is, right? I want you to understand. I'm gonna send an image in the chat. You don't have to show it on the stream, but I'm gonna send it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Because I think this is important for you guys to realize. I don't just like say things. Mount Vegapunk is a fraud thing, has like mostly speculation and some basis. But my thought for Saturn is only based on what I see. You have to understand. I don't think Saturn is the one that opened the barrier, right? I don't think Saturn is the one that's been there for 3 months colluding, right? I think these are multiple different parties. Remember, what Blackbeard saw, he said, the Navy is going to attack Boa. Let me intervene in that since nobody else is going there. That's multiple parties going to the same area colluding. You see what I'm saying? So it's not exactly in tangent with each other that are working together or anything. It's more like different parties with different goals happened to see, oh, this is an opportunity. This is the time. This is the best time at whatsoever to get Vegapunk. You see what I'm saying? To get one of the Vegapunks. To get back at Vegapunk. It could be any form of motive you can think of. And in the image I'm throwing up right now from the Den Den Mushi, I don't see a Blackbeard pirate. I don't see a CP0 agent that I can recognize. I don't know if you guys recognize any. I don't see uh, a straw hat, Vegapunk, sorry, that betrayed him. I'm seeing Saturn. When I look at that body, I'm seeing where Saturn's eyes were. I'm seeing the beard that Saturn has.
No, you're right.
You can
No,
look at it and you can see it.
Ragnar. I see I see exactly what you're saying. Like I see it too. When I first seen it, that's kind of what I thought as well. Cause he has that little hat, like he has that rectangular
Exactly.
hat, and if you look if you look at the thing, you could tell he has a hat kind of like that, and then his beard kind of like how his beard sticks out. I mean, just the shape of his face. If you compare the shape of their faces, he fits the description exactly. So I'm not arguing against that. You know what? You're right. It could be. You're right. It could be multiple parties at once. I don't disagree with that either. I don't disagree with that either.
It's multiple parties with different goals and different ways to achieve their goal. So somebody was trying to play the long con, the long game. But guess what happened? The Gorosei had different plans, so they had to speed it up. They had to change plans. Yeah. And I said this to Cube a few weeks ago. Blackbeard went to Amazon Lily because he said, I can't let the world government have you. I can't let him do it. You're dangerous to everybody. Not just me, everybody. I can't let him have you. So what did he do? He went to Amazon Lily himself. He didn't send somebody like he sent Van Auger and Aokiji for Pudding. He didn't send somebody. He went there himself. Remember when you want to get something done, do it yourself? He went there himself, bro. You have to keep that in mind. That's how much he considered Amazon Lily a threat. But guess what happened when he went there? He saw a second Boa. He saw a second Boa that could do exactly what Boa could do. It could do exactly what Boa could do. That's crazy. Imagine being worried about the world government getting a Boa and then finding out they could make one. Who are you going to next? Think about it.
Did
You're
S
going
Snake do
to
her
the person
ability?
who made them.
Did S Snake do her ability on Amazon Lily?
Yes, she did.
Okay.
She did it on Usopp. She did it
He-
on Frankie.
No,
She did it on York.
I'm talking on Amazon Lily. Did like
He
when
just
Blackbeard was
Lily?
he
there?
just
No, she didn't.
experienced
She didn't.
Mihawk.
She did it. She did it to No, I don't know. We don't know who did it to Katarina Devon. That's the truth. We don't know.
I think Boa did it.
Wasn't it Hancock? Clearly, it was
I think Hancock did it.
did like Katarina and Vasco shot. Otherwise, they would have shown like the other surfing, Hancock surfing.
Like,
Well, what we know is both Boa and Mihawk were there. So even if Boa didn't Boa
S
didn't
Snake.
do it to specifically Katarina Devon and Vasco shot, she probably did it to Marines. Not Marines directly, like to other Blackbeard pirates or Amazon Lily people. And then the Blackbeard pirates saw her do it to other Amazon Lily people, right? Because remember that the Seraphim went there to invade Amazon Lily. So originally it was a fight, Amazon Lily versus Marines. Then just as usual as the Blackbeards do, they intervened. They came in right at the best moment, and guess what? Boa used their ability on them. What we can say from that is Blackbeard saw Boa. We know he saw Boa. We know he saw them make a boa. If anything, he saw
Boa
them
or
make
S-Snake?
a better boa.
Okay.
He already knows
Better
about the
boa.
Lunarians, or like the cloning.
Say that again, Rox.
He already knows about the surfing because he witnessed Mihawk. He probably would have come to the conclusion that other warlords are clones as well. If in
That's
case he
also a
missed
possibility.
Hancock.
Yes. Even if he didn't see
Regardless.
Hancock, it's a possibility he thought up that they would see make other warlords. Because if he could make
Regardless,
Mihawk, he could make
come to the same
anybody.
conclusion.
Yeah.
I wonder if
And that's the
Mm.
truth. If you think about it, Blum, imagine trying to stop the world government from taking the one thing you thought would be a threat to your ultimate plan, and then you find out they can make one. Like, guys, think about it. What would you do? Would you continue to go after the original, or would you go after the person who can make copies?
Copies, maybe.
The source, you mean?
I go to the person who can make copies.
That's what I'm saying.
Original.
If you can, because we see the pacifist stuff, we know how dangerous Kuma is. We agree Kuma is dangerous. They made
Definitely.
copies. They made thousands of copies of Kuma. Blackbeard thought to himself, "Oh my God, if they ever made thousands of copies of Boa, we're finished. We can't fight that. There is no fight anymore." Lilith said it herself. We designed these people to be the ultimate, not even kinda, the ultimate fighters. The ultimate. There is no surpassing these. When it comes to defense, hockey, fighting, they evolve constantly. You know who confirmed that? Pythagoras and Edison. They are evolving mid-fight. So
Yeah.
even if they're fighting someone stronger than them, during that fight, they're getting strong enough to actually beat you.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. So he probably, Blackbeard, being as smart as he is, thought to himself, when Rayleigh offered the contingency, leave Boa alone, take whatever else you want, he took Kobe. Why did he take Kobe? Kobe has an authority chip. We forget this. Kobe has an authority chip. He has the authority to control the Seraphim during that raid. This was weeks ago.
I think.
Go on.
But it's like Kobe got such a low level authority chip. To me, it just wouldn't be. It wouldn't be that great of an asset. Like I'm not saying it's not an asset, but it's not that great of an asset because as long as somebody like Vegapunk or the Gorosei is present, Blackbeard would never be able to take control of a Seraphim. He'd never be able to take. He will only be able to do it on somebody's level, and even then, if they already gave the Seraphim order, it's not like he could override that order. So, and I get it. It's not a bad asset though. It's still a good asset though. So I'll give you that.
Kobe's to lord someone with even greater authority.
Say that again.
The thing is,
say that again,
Rox.
Rox.
What you say, Rox?
What if Blackbeard wanted Garp or someone higher specifically to be lured into his island because he kidnapped Kobe?
For the authority chip, or you're just talking in general? You're just talking about
Either a 40 chip or even something else.
Well, I don't think it would be because of authority chip, because I don't think Garp has one, and
Not 40,
even if
but
he
like,
did, it would probably be same level as Kobe. But
It would be below.
like
It would be the same
something
level as
later.
Kobe, but below the Vegapunks and the Gorosei. The reason I brought up the authority chip is because the authority chip is just what he needs to get on Egghead. That's what I'm saying. The authority chip is the only thing he needs to get on Egghead. Nobody detecting him. Why? Because the Seraphim could go in Egghead without being detected. Because they're allowed already. They're naturally allowed. They would get in and they would say, "Let me in." And they would just let them slide through. Because keep in mind, if Pythagoras at that time was not checking specifically at that time, when the shields went down for that split second to let the CP0 in, he would have missed it. The same way they missed when the CP0, the CP5 and the CP4 and the CP6 and 7 agents got kidnapped. They missed it because they weren't monitoring at that time. They're always busy. Even though they divide the work, we see them. They're always working. They never have time to do that stuff. They leave the security and everything else to Sentomaru and the Seraphims. So when I'm seeing Blackbeard say, "Okay, I'm gonna compromise for Kobe and the chips," that told me when Blackbeard saw Boa and Mihawk as a new PX, he was like, "I need to change my plan." Boa is no longer even worth priority. We have to go towards Egghead. We have to stop the man who can make multiple of these. We have to stop the man who can make an army
Or
that can stop my plan.
if not,
I
if
think
not, take him to make an army and take their powers.
Even better.
I just disagree. I think Blackbeard wants Boa's ability. I don't think it's because I already have my own theory of why. Like I think Blackbeard actually wants Boa's Devil Fruit ability. I don't think it's like I don't think it's because it's a threat. I think it's because he needs it for something with his plan personally. But I mean, but that don't really dispute a lot of this other stuff you talk about.
Awaken the rocks.
I just think he's trying to kind of what Rox just said. But go ahead, Angel.
I was gonna say all this talk about controlling seraphims made me think of Bon Clay. Like since the seraphim, when it comes to the higher the higher hierarchy, seems like they go off facial recognition. So
You're
I
saying
wonder how he
Bon
would.
Clay could
Too.
impersonate a Gorosei member?
Yeah,
I mean, he would have to meet him first, but
that is true.
it's possible.
Yeah,
If he
it
could
was
get
just a funny thought I had.
if he could get the if he could touch one of their faces, I don't see why it couldn't be a lot possibility, But yeah, y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so about the threat though, like this the threat that Sentomaru was talking about, what it's like nobody really touched that. Like, what is this supposed threat? Is it a buster call like Angel said, like a big buster call? Which to me that'd be anticlimactic.
Everything.
Huh?
Just everything they can dispose.
Everything that what?
Everything like the world can dispose at Egghead. Just to wipe it off.
I don't think they need everything though. I think they just need.
Not yet.
There's only two things they would need to get rid of Egghead, and one's a buster call, and the other is at least that we've seen is the thing that destroyed Lelugia. I don't think you gotta throw all your resources if you got something that could wipe it out in one go. So
No, well,
to me,
that's for like later.
To me, I think again, like I said, I'm gonna go with I think it's something to do with Saturn. I think Saturn, maybe if it's not Saturn's ability itself, I think maybe Saturn has the trigger. You could say I think Saturn could have the trigger to whatever that destructive weapon is. You know, I had to go back and look when we got that moment when Lelusia was destroyed. If we seen Saturn with the rest of the Gorosei members, or if he was actually missing, because if he wasn't there,
maybe he was given permission.
Maybe what?
He had to be given permission by Emu.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if he wasn't there, that would mean he went to Lelusia to destroy Lelusia with that weapon. I mean, I'm sure he would need it. I'm sure that's a given that he would need permission. But I'm saying if he was present with the rest of the Gorosei members, because but that's if we. I don't know if we actually seen the Gorosei. If we got a panel with the Gorosei, I think we did. That I feel as though we did. I just have to know if he was there, because if he wasn't, I think that's an indication that he left like before everything that happened at Lelusia. He went to Lelusia, wiped it off the face of the earth, and then it was onward to Egghead Island to do the same to Egghead Island. You know what I mean?
I want to say that my only pushback for this idea of him being able to use this ability, I don't even think, I'm not going to push back on the idea, but the idea of him using this ability at Egghead, I don't think that's going to happen because of the after effects after you use the ability. And from what we saw from Lucia is that it causes a wave storm, and they're bringing in 100 ships. So they would be destroying their ships as well.
Interesting.
I would have
so
to.
I genuinely I think it's huh?
I would have to pull that chapter just to see what you're talking about.
Like it caused the waves, like there was a bunch of big waves.
Yeah,
so it would have sunk them.
I feel like they might have some people there that could handle any backlash, right? Because I mean, just think, right? No. Like, I mean, we seen Aokiji did at Marineford, even though he's not with him, so he couldn't do that with them. But I'm pretty sure they got somebody who could minimize that, you know. Maybe Saturn himself, possibly.
That's my only problem with it, is like they would be wasting their own resources by just using that ability.
Yeah, but again, I think they would probably be able to manage that aspect. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Like they could probably protect themselves from waves, because you know if they're strong fighters, usually they have ways to, you know, counter things like that. Like we might remember that thing that 3 admirals did to prevent one of Whitebeard's attacks and you know they were using hockey. Yeah, I mean maybe Saturn's hockey is so strong he could do that by himself. You know, like I don't know. You know, like you see these big waves coming and Saturn just kind of uses his hockey to, you know, stop the waves from destroying all these ships. You know.
That's quite the boomer hockey.
Yeah, I mean, hey, bro, his hockey is probably some of the strongest. You know, the Gorosei members in general.
And Saturn and the other guy with the big beard, they weren't shown to be around.
They weren't.
No, actually, they are. Wait, no, they're all there. They're all there. Yeah, all
okay.
There.
All right.
Yeah, they're all there.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying I would have had to see it to make sure, because if he was there, then it kind of disputes my whole theory, you know, because he would have had to be present at Lelusia to do that, you know. So yeah, then I had to kind of bury that theory.
And and the thing I was trying to say is that it caused tsunamis, like a bunch of tsunamis.
Yeah, I know what you meant.